The dramatics in sports are common. We laugh, we cry, we have life lessons that carry on for the rest of our lives. But what if I told you the competitiveness amongst the human race can really compare to those very things? Sports. It's been around for hundreds and maybe even thousands of years. One thing it's definitely been around is the film industry. It possesses some of the greatest characters, stories, and you guessed it, life lessons. We've been fortunate over the years to witness what sports films can bring to the table and how they can maybe, just maybe, give us that will to go outside and enjoy the true beauty of what life has to offer. Tonight, we take the field as we encounter what it feels to truly feel like a champion. Tonight, we break down our top 10 sports movies of all time. And tonight, we welcome you to a If You Can Build It, They Will Come edition of a Comic Talkers production. And you were listening to Just for Flicks. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B. With me, as always, is Mr. B-Dog, Mr. Brandon. What's going on, man? How are we doing this lovely evening?
We're doing just fine. And today we are joined by a guest. You know him as Big Daddy L on the Pulling These podcast. Please welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Elmer. Elmer, how are you doing?
Feeling great. Glad to be here. You know, this is my my kind of vibe, you know, films. So happy to partake in this top 10.
Yeah, so today we cover sports movies with going over our top 10 sports movies of all time. Again, these are personal lists. These aren't our overall lists. What was it? Let us know in those comments what your top 10 are. Let us know if you hate our picks. You know what? If we have Mr. Baseball on our list, or we have fucking I guess a good way to put it is we have we have bench warmers on our list. So what? Come at me.
Better have bench
Come at
warmers
me.
Mr. Baseball.
Mr.
Wow.
Baseball.
I remember going to the theater for that one.
But yeah, so as always, we let our guests go first. So Elmer, take the mic away. What is your number 10?
All right. My number 10 pick is Blue Chips.
Oh,
starring my man Nick Nolte, Shaq Diesel, Penny Hardaway.
Oh man.
And Matt Nover, who for some reason I'm guessing is due to the Mandela effect. I thought that character was played by Chris Mullin for some reason because of the haircut. So the entire time I was like, wasn't that Chris Mullin in Blue Chips? And I was like, no, it wasn't. It was a totally different person. But yeah, Blue Chips was a great film. You know, I was a big basketball guy growing up. When I saw that movie, I was so hyped to play basketball right afterwards. You know, I wanted to be a basketball star after seeing that movie, even though, you know, hasn't aged that well, but it was still pretty good to see Shaq, you know, doing his thing and just slam dunking in the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
We all know Shaq's best movie still to this very day is Steel.
Yeah.
I can never shoot the free throw. At least he.
No. Come on now.
Come on now. Okay, fine. Grown-ups too.
My number 10, I actually watched it today. It's The Wrestler from 2008. It's Mickey Rourke, Marissa Tomei. Those are pretty much the two main actors. I like it because I'm a huge wrestling fan. That's my thing. I also think one of the cool things about it is it shows kind of the behind the scenes life of how a professional wrestler goes, especially on the independent scene. You know, the brutality they put their body through, the drugs, the sex, the rock and roll, everything, that lifestyle. It's just it's crazy to think about. And I think this movie definitely shows that on the silver screen. When I was looking it up, I was actually kind of blown away just because it's a movie about a professional wrestler who's pretty much a deadbeat dad, doesn't do anything. Got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is wild for a movie like this. Also, one more thing I want to say is Mickey Rourke got an Academy Award for this, got a nominee for it. So Best Actor. that's pretty much it I can say about it. I love the ending of it as well. I don't know if you remember the ending, but the ending is one of those cliffhanger endings where you don't know how it ended. It just ends. That's definitely I like that movie. So that's my number 10.
So I'll jump to my number 10. All I'm gonna do is just switch my hat for the day for just
Oh my gosh.
it is
Ah,
the outfield. I love Angels in the Outfield. This is a comfort movie to me.
nice.
Yeah, Danny Glover, you got Tony Danza, America's Dad at its finest. You got what was it, Matthew McConaughey when he was younger. You got Adrian Brody in this film, young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This can go on and on how talented this cast is. It really is. Might not always be the best movie. I always look at myself as the heckler in the fan in the what was it in the stands when they
With his hairy belly, he's got like
what was it? I love him. I think everybody's like that at one point in their life. But no, it just tells a great story. It's a family movie. Everybody can watch it. I watched this at 5 or 6 years old and just became a fan of it. It's a movie I watch pretty much whenever I'm down, anything like that. That's a movie I put on. But no, Angels in the Outfield's a great movie. Great family movie. Makes you cry, makes you laugh, makes you feel wholehearted a little bit. Thanks, Disney. And yes, you got the little wave.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Hey.
back to Big Daddy L. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is The Longest Yard, the Adam Sandler one. Of course.
that was on my honorable mentions for sure. Man.
Yeah. It was either this or The Water Boy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with The Longest Yard. Because, I have to have a football movie in there somewhere,
Yeah.
But, this movie, not one of his best, but I was entertained throughout the whole film. I didn't know Courtney Cox had a body like that, so I saw this movie. So, I appreciate it for that also. Everybody was great in it. Tracy Morgan was fucking hilarious. I enjoyed watching Stone Cold, even though I hate the fact that Goldberg was the prisoner and Stone Cold was the CO. It should have been other. As a Stone Cold fan, I think it should have been the other way around. But that's just my.
That's the bottom.
Only, yeah.
There you go. Of them all. You got Kevin Nash in that film.
I was gonna say
Kevin Nash.
Cool.
Hormones.
Kevin Nash.
Take the steroids, right? Give him the
Dude, when
hormones.
he takes the estrogen and he's like, dude, that is the best. One of the best.
Yeah. When he's sitting there screaming at
Or also that we had that one scene when Chris Rock's character died. Straight overkill. And I was like, you know what? That was too much for this type of movie. I was like, well, he got burned alive, right? If I'm remembering right, or something like that.
A bomb went off.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they triggered the radio.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nah. Spoiler alert for The Longest Yard, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's another good wrestler there too. What was it? The Great Khali's in that movie.
Yeah, the Great
Khali.
Yeah. Great Khali.
The Great Khali, yeah.
Best one-liners. Okay, thank you, buddy. Like, yeah,
I'll go with my number 9. My number 9 is Any Given Sunday.
Oh.
It's an Oliver Stone movie, and Oliver, if no one's ever watched his movies are usually pretty unique in the way he shoots them and the way he kind of edits everything together. It's got a crazy cast. You got Al Pacino, Dennis Quaid, Jamie Foxx, Lawrence Taylor, James Woods, Cameron Diaz, LL Cool J, Aaron Eckhart, Matthew Modine, and John C. McGinley. I mean, that's a crazy cast for a movie. It's one of those good football movies. I don't watch it all the time, but it's always one, like when I saw it, I was like probably 6 years old, and it's just one of those movies where I always watched whenever I got the chance. It's a solid football movie. I think it also tells the tale of, again, behind the scenes of how the football business works, getting replaced and whatnot, and the loyalty it's shown, and also the negligence that's given. So I think they did it well. I love the ending too, when Al Pacino goes on to another team and takes Jamie Foxx with him. That's just
yeah, that was awesome. Like twist at the end.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
so mad. I'm so mad. I forgot about any given Sunday.
yeah, man. Any given Sunday, it's
Oh
great.
man, yeah, that was definitely one of the first Blu-rays I brought when it came out. When I actually got a Blu-ray player, I was so excited.
Yeah, I think
That's
that was
awesome.
one movie I knew when we made this list. I was like, it wasn't gonna even make my list or nowhere near it, and it wasn't
Yeah.
bad. I'm not a big Cameron Diaz fan. And I know
Okay.
this might be an unpopular take, and I know Pat's heard me say I don't even like Robert De Niro. I don't like Al Pacino.
Oh wow.
There is certain roles I like him in. Like I love Godfather. Don't get me wrong. I love Godfather. I love Scarface. But when he branches out to other roles, like A Scent of a Woman, even though that was a stretch, I thought he did good in that movie. Other than that, I've never really cared for him.
Dog Day Afternoon's really good.
Yeah. Which one?
Dog Day Afternoon.
Mhm.
You're gonna have the film bros coming after you, Brandon.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't have me in the comments.
How dare you?
No, I get it. Though. Also, we weren't, we didn't grow up around Al Pacino's movies. Also, by the time, I think we grew up to appreciate them. I mean, look at now; he's probably over 80 now. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't make movies anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 70s and early 80s, it was, the thing. But yeah, that's my
97. Come on now.
what's
They
that?
can act at 97 years old. Come on now. He did it in Mary Poppins Returns, got up on the table and just started dancing like the whole time. Come on now. So,
What
It's still
about
possible.
what about you, Mr. B Dog? What's your number 9?
so I'm gonna give you guys a hint. This is the only big star that's really I'll tell you there's two big stars. One that became a star later on. Samuel L. Jackson, Channing Tatum.
You got Coach Carter.
Long.
I love Coach Carter.
Oh wow.
It's I will say right now, it's the only basketball movie that made my list. And it was hard because I do like a lot of basketball movies. But I have a lot of baseball movies. I have a lot of fighting movies in this list.
Okay.
And I have one football and one hockey. That's all I'm gonna say. But Coach Carter, to me, I love this story. It's not about a star. It's about a coach bringing this team together and making them realize there's more to life than just basketball. There's you're going to go through stretches where people, and I love the mixture of the teams. You got Samuel Jackson, you got Rob Brown, which plays a lot of sports movies. You got Channing Tatum, Robert Ricard. List can go on and on. It's just good to see different cultures, different backgrounds being mixed on this team and learning how to play basketball and how they come together as a team is even phenomenal. The fact that I still love the whole shut down, lockdown, and not to be mistaken, that only happened not too far away from us where we used to live. Right? So at this point, it's just a local movie, and I love it. I think it's a great movie. I think everybody should watch it at least once to say, you know what, this is one of my favorite Samuel Jackson films of all time. If I had to put a top 5 roles for Samuel Jackson, this would probably be up there.
Wow.
I like it. Well, I can't put Mace Windu because that whole
I would
Mace
never
Windu-
count Mace Windu as one of the best
Mace
roles
Windu was taken off my list.
ever.
Unless they bring him back, fans, please pitch to bring him back. Make him like he never got killed.
Oh no. Please don't. Please don't.
Sitting there wailing in the bottom of the well.
Oh yeah, he'll be disfigured more than Vader, I think.
But all right, Big Daddy L, let's turn it back to you. What's your number 8?
My number 8 picked. It's I'm looking at my list right now, so it's gonna be like my football stretch right now going. So my number 8 pick is The Replacements, starring Keanu Reeves and the great Gene Hackman. And what again, I was like in college when this movie came out. Keanu Reeves, he can do no wrong in my eyes. So this movie was funny, it's entertaining, is rewatchable. I Will Survive is always in my head when I'm watching that movie or when I think about that movie. That was a great scene. We got Kurt Connors himself, the Lizard, as the kicker on the squad. Also, he's Lord Hightower from House of the Dragons.
He's also the brother in Little Nicky.
Oh yeah,
That's what I know him from.
yeah. There you go.
Why do you even have to bring that movie up, man? Come on.
Little Nicky.
We're gonna go down this Alice Sandler slope real soon. Oh, but yeah, great movie. It was fun. It was cool to see. You're cheering on the scabs that are working, and they're the good guys in this, and that's so rare to pull off. I just enjoyed the
I think
movie.
it's the first sports movie that we can sit there and say, you know what, I can relate to him.
Yeah,
That's in the long run.
I'll cross that picket line so I can play some football.
My one and only chance. That would be like the moment, like when you look at Longest Yard and you have that dude, what was it? Why can't I be the quarterback? That would be his moment. Like, let's go in there and throw.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's that down to Patty B?
My number my number is For the Love of the Game.
Wow, Sam Raimi up there on that list. Come on.
You had to, right? I mean, I watched okay, so that's another movie I watched recently,
Mhm.
and I really appreciate the way the story is put together as far as it's a love story, right? So he's this baseball player, he's right at the edge of retirement, and he's basically playing potentially the last game of his career. And in between this game that he's playing, he's having flashbacks of this girl that he loves, and this girl is going to get away. She's going to move across seas, and he's not going to get to see her again. And I think he created such a bond with her throughout the movie. You see that he's like, this game's not worth it. Being away from her, making this a first priority over her. By the way, he pitches a perfect game throughout it, and he doesn't realize that because he's so caught up in his emotions. He gets to the eighth inning, and he's like, looks at the scoreboard. He's like, "Anyone been on base?" And his catcher goes, "No, man, no." It's just such a good movie because it goes back and forth throughout the inning, or throughout the game. Uh, it's got Kevin Costner, Kelly Preston, Brian Cox, J.K. Simmons, John C. Riley, and then Vince Scully does a cameo there for any Dodger fans. But yeah, no, that's my number. That's my number 8. I think that's the reason why I love it. I just love the way they put the movie together. So,
So I'll go to my first fighting movie on my list. This is a 2011 film, one that people tend to forget about. I think it's one of Tom Hardy's and Joel Edgerton's best roles. I'm going with Warrior. I think this is such a great movie. If anybody does not know what the story is about, it's loosely based off a true story about two brothers. One's a ex-Marine who deserts his platoon. Another one's a struggling teacher trying to find ends meet. They get a chance to go into this tournament for MMA fighters. They both have MMA backgrounds. They fight in this tournament, and the final match is between the two brothers. It has Tom Hardy, like I said, Nick Nolte's in this film, Joel Egerton, Jennifer Morrison, Frank Grillo's in this film, Kurt Angle's in this film for any wrestling fans. He is a Russian in this film, for crying out loud.
Really?
Singing sense, yeah, he plays like the big old Russian that Egerton faces in the second to last round. It's just like, why? It's like he is the American champion. You put him as a Russian. You wouldn't think it. He's got a beard and everything. That is Kurt Angle. It's just like, that is straight up Kurt Angle. You can see his neck, the way it is, everything. It's just funny to watch, but it is a great story about two brothers, two estranged brothers, because they don't get along at all. One feels that as if he left them. When mom and him needed him, where was he? Nowhere to be found. And the way they're fighting for what they're trying to get is for two different reasons. Egerton's doing it for his family. Hardy's doing it for a Marine, a fellow friend of his, whose wife is struggling after he passes away. So it's a whole thing. He's trying to win money for them. Egerton's trying to find money for his family. So it's a great story. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You guys need to go watch it. It's a very underrated movie. I knew on this list it was going to make my list right away. Was Warrior. So Warrior's my number 8. So let's turn
Okay.
Big Daddy L.
All right. And it's going to be my first baseball movie on the list. and that's gonna be the Bad News Bears,
There you
the
go.
original with Walter Matt Dow and Tatum O'Neal. All right,
Yes. Thank you.
and with young Rorschach also.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
God.
Jackie, was it Jackie Hurley?
Yes.
He shows up in this, which bugs me out to this day. I'm like, yo, that was him.
Well,
as
yeah.
as a smooth underage drinking, smoking cigarettes kid riding a motorcycle. The 70s was such a wild time. Just watch that movie and you're like, what the hell am I watching right now? And why is kid saying so many slurs right now?
I was just telling Brandon before we got on air that I actually watched this movie for the first time about 3 days ago, and
Oh wow.
I'd never seen it. And I was telling him, man, it's wild. Like first scene, you have Walter Matthau in his car. He cracks open a Budweiser and then he pulls out a pint of whiskey and starts pouring it in the beer. And I'm like, oh my god,
Straight alcoholic. Straight alcohol.
I could see why they picked Billy Bob Thornton to do the remake. Probably because off of the Bad Santa.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like,
They're like, oh, he got that vibe.
But the sad thing is too with that, didn't he do Friday Night Lights before he did Bad News Bear?
I don't know. Bad News Bears, I think, is in 05. I would say Friday Night Lights is about the same year, so it potentially could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was the thing. Like when they came out with that movie, I was like, why do you need to remake this? Just eat the Walter Matthau one, and then they had spawn 2 sequels after Spring Break and Going to Japan, which is like fans didn't go watch this movie, so they're terrible. But it's
Yeah. I was this close to putting the Japan sequel in here somewhere on my list. I was like, nah, I'm gonna take this somewhat seriously right now.
And
Mhm.
great pick. It made my honorables.
Oh no! I remember watching it as a kid. I'm like, yo, kids could curse like this? What's going on?
Mom and Dad, can I say fuck?
like they could drink beer? Like what?
Or was it the
It blew my
Vaseline?
mind.
You know, the
Oh man,
orange sauce.
yeah,
Like, yeah, get it, like you lick your finger. You know, it's like
yeah,
it's funny to watch it. It really is.
yeah. Great movie. Just don't watch it with your kids until they're old enough, I guess.
I think I was 8 when I watched it for the very first time.
Probably the same age.
But
Pat, my number 7 is going to be quick. I should have mentioned it when you had mentioned it, Brandon. It was your number 10, I believe. It's my number 7. It is Angels in the Outfield. It is a great movie. That's all I need to say. Watch it. Star-studded cast. Let them fly.
Let them fly. I think going back to that really quickly, you want me to tell you my favorite scene in that whole movie is? It's, of course, one of them is the wing scene, you know, but the other one is when they're in the ball club and they sit there and what was it? Knox is going off on them all, and you have the dumbass pitcher sitting over there like, oh, I thought it's like I thought the game started at 1. It started at 1, and you're a jackass. And he goes, I'm a pitcher. And he's like, you're a pitcher and a jackass. See, they're very common. Oh, and he passes out. It's the stupidest scene.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, what's a jackass? And they were like, what? But this is a segue because I got baseball as well as number 7. This might piss off fans of how low it is. I'm going Field of Dreams. Now, this is a stretch because I don't always look at this as a sports film. I look at more as a drama and a history film, more than I look at in a redemption film, more than I look at a sports film. Because how many sports scenes are in this? That's where I have to play into concept. But I think it's more the training they all did, and that's what made me actually choose this. And the star-studded cast along with it. You have Kevin Costner, Ray Liotta's in this film, James Earl Jones is in this film. I love the film. It's a great story. It's a great inspiration story. It's a redemption story for the 1919 Black Sox, as they're known. For anybody who does not know that whole trend, that's pretty much was when the White Sox threw the 1919 World Series to get paid a little bit more. That was another movie I almost had on my list, and that was 8 Men Out. I almost put that movie on my list because I love that.
Is that what that's about? I've never seen 8 Men Out.
Oh, you've never seen Eight Men Out? Man, you got to watch it at least once. It's good. It really shows you what they. It has young Mickey Rourke or Rorker in it. Yondu from the Guardians of the Galaxy, Charlie Sheen.
Oh, Michael Rooker, you mean?
What was that?
Michael Rooker from Guardians of the
Uncle
Galaxy?
Rooker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's him. He's young in this film. There's a lot of Christopher Lloyd's in this film. There's a lot of people in this movie. Yeah, he's one of the kind of like one of the gamblers, kind of things like that. It's a good movie. It's very John Cusack's in this movie too. So then go check it out. It's a good movie. But Field of Dreams made it. I love the whole lines. I love, if you build it, they will come. And it's really fantastic to see Ray Liotta. I love him in this movie. It's hard for me to watch him in this movie and then go watch Goodfellas because it's two different roles for him. But
Yeah.
it shows you his wide range of acting and what he can and can't do. And I like him. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta. We miss you all.
He went from gangster to baseball player.
Yeah, no. It was
That's
based,
that was his range, man.
and then,
There you
and then
go.
what was his last movie? Cocaine Bear.
The Cocaine Bear.
Anyway.
Jeez, dude, talk about range.
But yeah, I know it's an unpopular opinion. Like, I want to ask you guys view that as a sports movie, or do you look at it something totally different?
I mean, it's got baseball in it. I don't see
Well,
that.
yeah. What about you, though?
Yeah, I consider it a sports film.
Okay. I did it more for the history. I love the history behind it all, that he's going on this whole research thing. James Earl Jones is one of my favorite roles in this whole movie. He's like, get the hell out of my place. And then he's and he goes, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I don't want to have nothing. He goes, no, I mean, what do you want? And he's looking like, oh, dog and a beer, please. And I'm like, I just love James Earl Jones and Kevin Costner's relationship. They're a really good duo. I want to see him more. But yeah, Field of Dreams my number 7. So we'll turn it back over to Big Daddy L for his number 6.
My number 6 is going to be Remember the Titans, starring Denzel Washington, Wood Harris, Donald Faison. A lot of good talent in this movie. I love the story, even though it's kind of wishy-washy, if you will, but it was a great story, great cast. The chemistry they had as a team, you actually believed what you were seeing on the screen. They actually got together as a team and completed their task that needed to be done. I felt when my man Opie got in that car accident in the middle of the movie, it got paralyzed. That was a heartbreaking scene.
It's like,
You want me to tell you the one thing I can never get? So I can't remember what was it? What was the other linebacker's name? You had Jerry, and then you had I can't remember his name, but it's sad because he plays such a tough role in this. And then you watch him in Creed, and he's Creed's like, little corner guy.
Yeah. Wood Harris, yeah. So many great lines like that. The hey sunshine. And Sunshine's over here doing karate moves on the field and whatnot.
What was it? PD, you got quite a few people in this movie. PD's one of my favorite characters because there's a lot of redemption for him. You got Jerry, of course. You got there's a lot of good characters in this film, and I'll reveal it right now. It's my number 3.
Oh wow, okay.
Football movie on my list, and I love, just like you said, there's a lot of history in this based off the true story. And one of my favorite scenes still to this day is the Gettysburg scene. I still hold that. It is such a beautiful scene because they were like, well, why are we here? And he goes, well, doesn't matter what color, race you were or anything. A lot of men lost their lives here fighting for the same stuff. And that's what he was trying to teach them. It's like, you guys got to come together. And the whole fact too is like he would make them mix. Like, you got to learn something about a different race, and I want to see this, or you're not going to be on the team next year. It was the whole thing. Even the coaches started to learn from him. Again, not another movie I can sit there and watch Will Patton in, and then not think of him in Punisher, or think of something totally different afterwards, because he's bad in that movie. Fans,
yeah,
he's bad. But yeah. I Remember Titans, one of my first sports movies of all time, and still holds true to me today. You learn a lot of good life lessons there, and yeah, I love Remember Titans. So
yeah, great film.
Your number.
I remember seeing it in theaters when I was a kid. I know that's. I mean, I was really little, but I remember seeing that movie. I know that's random. Not a lot of movies like from back then that I saw because I was just so young. But that's one that sticks out. I remember going with my neighbor that I grew up with, going to see it with his family and loving it. And I still watch it all the time. It's I think it's I think if you picked 20 people out of a crowd, I bet you at least 15 people would say that Remember the Titans is probably one of their favorite sports movies. So
And how can you not like this movie without young Hayden Panettiere in this too? This movie was one of her first movies, and to see her in the role she played, it speaks for what movies she came to play in later on.
Yeah, for sure.
She's a good actress. That's why I said I like her. Got good started cast in this. Good job for Disney for doing this. So, all right, Pat.
Yeah.
my number six, it's one that probably is on nobody's list. But it's on mine. It's dear to my heart. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. We're going with dodgeball. All right.
Buddy. That made variables.
I think it's a classic. It's just a phenomenal movie. If no one's ever seen it, shame on you.
Wait. Patrick, are you underrating dodgeball right now? Are you saying that this phenomenon that was dodgeball is not loved?
It's a classic, man. I think it's almost 20 years old. And
Oh man.
dude, it still holds up, man. It's just I can watch that movie whenever, It's phenomenal. Like nobody makes me bleed my own blood,
Yeah.
It's just got so many good lines.
Yeah, Ben Stiller was great in that.
One of my favorite lines in the whole movie. I had to do this for my wife because she told me before I got on. She looked through my list and was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna pick dodgeball." Yeah, you got it. All right. Well, at the end, when when Steve the pirate doesn't want to be a pirate and he comes back, they win the tournament and he's like, "Hey Peter," he's like, "Is that Steve the pirate?" He's like, "Who's Steve the pirate?" And he's like, I really listened to what you said, and I'm trying to be me now, And then Peter goes, "Well, Steve, if you're not a pirate, who am I going to spoil this buried treasure with?" And he shows him the big, pot of cash, and he goes, "Guard." Dude, I don't know why, but when he does that, I just die laughing every time he does it. Because he just immediately broke back into a pirate. So
oh man,
it's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my number. That's my number six, man. I love dodgeball. I'll always watch it. It's a comfort movie for me too. I can put it on, and it's a quick, fun, movie. It's only an hour and a half, and usually hour and a half movies are the best ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think one of my favorite scenes from that whole movie is when they're doing the qualifier and they had to beat a whole bunch of Girl Scouts, and so they lose. And the only way they got into the tournament is because one of the girls was using steroids.
Yeah.
Damn you, Bernice.
Yeah. She's like a.
Oh man.
Oh man, that was a great scene.
But
and it's crazy. It came out like a couple weeks after Anchorman, so you had like these two great comedies in the theaters at the same time. I actually saw both of them at the same day. I snuck in to see what Dodgeball, so I was just great day. It was a great day for me. That I'd never laughed so much in one day.
Ben Stiller's in both of those movies.
Yeah,
and Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Go on,
I was like double dipping right there.
Okay. But we're gonna go to another one for most famously known for a famous line that comes out of that film. There's no crying in baseball. I'm going with A League of Their Own. I love this film. I love anything about the Women's League back in World War II. Gina Davis plays perfect role in this as Dottie. You have Madonna in this movie. You have Rosie O'Donnell. This was Rosie O'Donnell's first movie ever. And you have Tom Hanks. How can you not like Tom Hanks in this film? It's got some of the most iconic one-liners in this film. One of my favorite scenes still to this day is a little kid saying, "You're gonna win." And he's like, "We're gonna win." And he sits there and he looks at him. He's like, "You," and he just tosses the effing glove at him and then knocks him out. So, it's just those iconic, like even when they're playing the calls and you had the one girl sitting at the date, like literally doing like the cha-cha going in and out of the box because they were like all messing with the, and then that was one of my favorite scenes. He's like, well, let me manage, and then he calls the same call Gina Davis was calling the whole time. It's just one of those iconic movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, A League of Their Own is my number 6. So we're turning back over to Big Daddy Eldon for his number 5.
Okay, for my number 5 pick, it's a football film, and I'll be impressed if any of you two will know this film that I'm about to say right now. And my number 5 pick is Wildcats.
Yes.
Okay, it's Goldie Hawn.
Hawn.
Nice, Brandon. Nice.
Got it.
So yeah, I remember watching this movie as a kid. So hilarious to me. This is like, I think it was like this is like the first big comedy movie I saw as a kid that was very diverse in its cast. And it was the beginning of the Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes trilogy. They were the first movie they did together. And it was a great film. She played like a female track coach in his preppy school, and she wanted to coach football, the men's football team. They give it a chance. They send her off to the inner city, where she had to turn these badass teenagers around and make them into a winning football team. This movie's hilarious. There's so many great scenes in it. There's a scene where the other team's called the Cougars, and I'm not gonna say the line here because I know we get a little raunchy here, but Wesley Snipes gives one of the funniest lines, and that had me cracking up as a 8-year-old kid when I first heard it. But yeah, you want to see like a crazy, funny '80s sports movie? Definitely check out Wildcats. It's a great film.
I remember this was one of the first, not the first movies I watched with my mom, we watched together, but it was one of those that she put on one day and I just sat there and just laughed my ass off. It was just one of those movies that it just makes you laugh every which way. Goldie Hawn is fantastic. Wesley Snipes is good in that movie. Woody Harrelson's great in that movie. It's just as fantastic. So,
yeah.
All right, Pat.
So my number 5, I'm just gonna, we were so close on that one, Brandon. League of Their Own is my number 5. I was like, it's right there, right when we're about to say it. So I figured I'd just wait. But it's the star-studded cast, the story behind it, everything. It's just a great movie. Tom Hanks is probably the best part of it. His character is. But yeah, that's my number 5, League of Their Own. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's a great movie.
Now, my number 4 is also based on a true story. It's my only hockey movie on my list. And it's a Disney film with Kurt Russell in it. I'm going with Miracle. That is my number 5. I remember watching this in theaters. I remember fighting my uncle because I did not want to go see this. I was like, I want to go see. I think I forgot what it was, like a cartoon movie out there in that time. I was like, I want to see that. And I went and watched it and fell in love with it. What actually made me fall in love with hockey entirely. And to see that the true story of really this team coming together, college students, to go up against a team that Russia's put together that's played with each other for like 20 years. And they win and do the most impossible thing. And that's where you get the most iconic. Do you see a miracle? Yes, that's like one of the best lines in all of Olympic history is when the US put down Russia in the 1980s Winter Olympics. This movie is all about that. Kurt Russell plays a phenomenal performance in this film. Go check this movie out. It is fantastic. My only hockey movie that made my list. So
a lot of them.
You have Slapshot and Goon, and you got a couple others, but
I was just gonna add to Miracle real quick. One of my favorite scenes is that one where he has them do the drills because they lost the game and they have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then the assistant coach is like, "Come on, let's what are you trying to do here?"
And it gets finally the iconic line that somebody plays for the United States of America instead of listening to where they all played originally.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie. I love all the hockey drills. I think even some of the most some of the best hockey players in all the world right now has even said that's actually real. Disney did a really good job on that and showing that these drills that they all have to go through. It's just phenomenal. I think it's the first time you really see that where you actually see them go through drills and the way they do it. it's just phenomenal to see it from beginning to end. And no, I won't put Happy Gilmore up there for drills because that's just Happy Gilmore just being happy. But yeah, no, Miracle's my number 5. So let's turn it back over to Big Daddy L for your number 4.
My number 4 is actually a hockey movie also, and it's The Mighty Ducks.
The Mighty
You know, that's, I love this film as a kid. I watched this so many times. If I were to switch channels and it happens to be on, I'll stop everything I'm doing and watch this movie. Loved it. Yeah, the Flying V, Emilio Estevez.
What a bad coach.
Terrible coach.
He's a bad coach.
Hey man. Yeah, he had to work through it, all right? He had to work through all his issues, okay, to be the coach that he was.
He tied up a goalie to the boat. Like,
What coach has a better name than Gordon Bombay, sir? Tell me that much.
Named after gin.
It was so on the nose. We're gonna name him after Jen. He's gonna be arrested for drunk driving. We got everything. Got everything covered.
Oh, we got our new coach Melvin Coors. You know,
Oh man.
that's a good pick though.
What was it? You remind me. So what was it? Not too long ago, I watched an episode of The Simpsons from the 90s, right? That was the hockey episode. There's a scene that reminds me of the Mighty Ducks so bad because they tied up Millhouse to the goalpost because he gets knocked out, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have another goalie. We're gonna tie you up." And so they tie him up on the post like they do with Goldberg, and he sits there the whole time. Here comes the puck, and he's starting to like blow it away, like because he doesn't know how to deal with it. But what was it? But that movie, I like that movie. Don't get me wrong. But Jack, the coach of the Hawks, what a dick. I'm just gonna say it right there. What a dick. These little popping collars shit. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Dick.
They had to be extra dickish in those type of movies.
I love how
I
love how the whole team goes out for the season too because they all got the measles.
Oh,
yeah. He's got the measles, so they're out of the tournament. I'm like,
that's
okay.
That's a possible thing that could happen. Actually, that was kind of believable.
It just seemed convenient. It was like, oh, yeah. Okay, sure, let's go with it.
It's like if they all catch corona right now. It's like, oh man, that's it.
We're done.
They got to play. Disqualified.
All right, Patty B.
Oh man.
4.
My number. Okay, so yeah, my number 4 is I love it. It's very rewatchable. It is Major League, the first one.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah. The other ones can't talk about, but no. I think it's one of an underrated baseball movie. It's a comedy. It's the team's owners trying to throw the season. To relocate. Team doesn't want to have anything to do with it, so they get it together and end up coming up with a playoff team throughout the season. But it's got a bunch of different characters in it, just different people that add different aspects to the team. Pedro Serrano, Ricky Vaughn, Jake Taylor, as which I love. I love Jake Taylor's character in this. As a baseball player, like or Tom Berenger's character, I should say. He's just a great leader for a team. If I were to pick him for a team, I'd pick him. Not to impede on that, but like I said, I think it's a good movie. It's a great movie. It's got one of the greatest lines, I think. Just a bit outside. When when they throw that wild pitch, and Bob Uecker is on it for the call, but
yeah,
it's great, man. And then Ricky Vaughn, Charlie Sheen's character, it's phenomenal. Wild Thing,
thing,
iconic. But no, that was I had to do it. When I was making this list, I'm like, man, I gotta hit him with the Bob Uecker line real quick. No, but that's my number 4, Major League. Anyone hasn't checked it out, they should definitely check it out. do yourself a favor. Probably don't watch. The second one's right?
Second
What do you
one's decent. The
think?
second one's decent.
Yeah.
The third one is where it gets bad.
Oh
Yeah,
no, I didn't even bother with the third one,
We
bro.
got Jack Parkman in the second one. Now, come on, there's got to be some love for him. Okay,
even with the second one, I had to force myself to accept Omar Epps as Willie
Yep.
Mays.
Yeah, it's completely
Omar
different.
Epps is
Mays
the only
Hayes.
one like, that's the only thing I hate about that movie was Omar Epps as
Yeah.
no, don't.
Right,
And
no. Wesley, sir. Wesley.
I think my favorite part of the second one, side note, what was it, is when Serrano has found peace and he's become a Buddhist, right?
Yeah.
So he hits a bird midair and he's like, oh no, and he runs, he's going first and he's going out to center field, and all of a sudden he gets the bird. He's like, why? And then he's like, dude, you're out. Like, even the second baseman's laughing at him because he's like, what are you doing? And then the Bob Uecker, he goes, oh, it was so cute. He goes, bro, it was a rat with wings.
Yeah.
It's like the best scene of all time. But
I love that scene.
my favorite scene in Major League is Serrano, like he's the voodoo, right? And Eddie Harris goes up to his locker and drinks the little bourbon next to it or whatever drink that was. He downs it, right? And he comes out, yeah, I feel good. Let's go. And the bat comes out and hits him right in the back of the head. It's like, you fucked up, buddy. No, it did not. I hate saying it, Pat. Major League did not make my list.
As soon as I said it, I looked at your face on the screen. I'm like,
I didn't put this.
Who doesn't like that pick at all, man?
I thought that I don't like it. It made my honorables, so it did make it somewhere. But when it really comes to ones, like, I could rewatch that. That was one I would put, like, if we did top 15, it'd be 11 or 12 on my list.
Yeah,
but not a. But yeah,
Major League is a classic.
Yeah,
it's definitely a classic.
So I'll go to my number 4, and it's by far one of my favorite boxing movies out there. I am going with Cinderella Man.
If anybody does not know, this movie is about Jimmy Braddock, who is a real life boxer back in the Great Depression time frame. What was it? He gets out of retirement pretty much, or he's pretty much forced out of the commission. His license is revoked after a bad fight. But he's now fighting for his life, his family's and his life at this point. So he finds a way to get back into boxing and shocks the world by winning the heavyweight championship of the world. And it is a true story. It is really good. This is one of my favorite Russell Crowe performances. I think him and Renee Zellweger are amazing in this film. You have Paul Giamatti in this film as well as his ring guy. You have his little. It's just fantastic to watch it. I will put this and another boxing movie on my list, and I know this will be an unpopular take over Rocky any day of the week. And it's just a good. Cinderella Man is just a good story. It really shows that, a man who's willing to go all out, even risk his own life to make sure his family has a good life. It's just amazing. It is a really good story. I think people should read up on James Braddock. I think he is a great influence on people, and I think he is probably one of the best boxers in my eyes. But yeah, Russell Crowe in this performance is amazing. I will never doubt this. I will not put it over Gladiator, but it's up there in my top 3 of all time. So yeah, Cinderella Man's my number 4. And before we go to number 3, everybody knows my number 3 already is. It's Remember the Titans. So we're going to just do Big Daddy L and Patrick on this one. So Big Daddy L, start us off. What's your number 3?
And my number 3 is the second Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes movie on here, and it's White Men Can't Jump. The original White Men Can't Jump, not that trash that Jack Harlow put out.
Did you watch it at all?
No.
Yeah,
I would never disrespect the original that way.
Don't waste your time, right?
I was like,
I think I watched this, but then I said no. This isn't the same.
Yeah, not at all. A funny story. I don't know if you guys know about the hot boxes, cable boxes in New York City that were illegal. That you get all the channels.
Yeah.
So we got all the pay-per-view channels when I was a kid. And one of the first movies I saw was White Men Can't Jump. And it was just, it would just play all day in my house because that's all I would want to watch because it was so funny. Like Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. I don't know if you guys remember, like, were around during that time, but that's like the movie that shot both of them in like the star stratosphere. They got their names really out there. And this movie, like the chemistry they have in this movie was so great. You actually believe they're like friends, like in real life, you know?
Yeah.
Rosie Perez was hilarious in this, you know, trying to get her shot at Jeopardy. You know,
Yeah, she kills it.
yeah. And, you know, everything about this movie was so great. Like I said, Wesley Snipes was great. This movie as a family man, and you know, doing everything he can to help out Woody Harrelson and his stubborn ways. And you know, it was just, you know, I can't say enough about this film. It was a great film. I could watch it anytime. Awesome. It holds up to this day.
You know, you pitch a good thing with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. If we did like a top 5 duos list, like actor-wise, they'd be up on my list. I think Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson puts out some bangers when they are ready to go, and that they're just great together. I think bring up a good point. I'd put them at number 4 or 3 on top 10 or top 5 all-time duos and movies. I put them up.
I love that. I love the opening scene to that movie, where they have the quartet that's playing by the court. It just sets. It's like a 5-minute scene, and it just shows the credits and like just scenes around the town that it's shot in. It sets the feel for the movie, and it's just because I watched this movie probably about 2 months ago, but so pretty fresh in my mind from watching it. But yeah, that's one of my things that stood out for me while I was watching. I'm like, man, this like it's already good. Like I'm digging it. You know? So.
Yeah, so many great scenes. You know, this dude robbing the store to get money to play basketball, to place that basketball bet, and then trying to shoot up the court afterwards when he lost. That whole scene was so great. That movie's great. But yeah, that's my number 3 pick.
3. All right.
My number 3 is one of my all-time. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time. It is Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, we knew that was coming. We knew that was coming.
It's one of Adam Sandler's best, if not greatest movies.
This was my number 1 on my list. Not on this list, but on the Adam Sandler list, automatically is my number.
Happy Gilmore, right? You would think. Shooter McGavin is also one of the greatest heels or villains. Not villain.
He's a heel. He's a villain.
He's a heel. Yeah, he's a heel. And then you got Carl Weathers in it as well. You know, Lisa Bowen, a young Lisa Bowen. It's just, man, there's so many so many good lines from that movie. You know, you have Bob Barker in it. You know,
Price is wrong, bitch. And then the price is right, bitch.
I love
Ben Stiller in that film. Come on now, Ben Stiller's even in that film.
Oh man,
like I was saying, he played.
Or I will put you to sleep.
He plays great villains, man.
Another one of my favorite lines in that from Ben Stiller is the old lady's like, "My fingers hurt." He's like, "Oh, your fingers hurt. Well, that sucks because you just pulled landscaping duty." He looks around and he's like, "Anyone else's fingers hurt?" He's like, "Yeah, $800 a quilt." He's like, inside business at the It's great, man. I love it. But it's a solid sports movie. I think when you think of a golf movie, I automatically think of Happy Gilmore. You could say Tin Cup if you wanted to. Tin Cup's a really good, solid golf movie too. I had a friend that told me they really liked the Greatest Game Ever Played, that Shia LaBeouf movie. You guys, any of you seen that movie?
Yeah, I have.
No.
Is it good?
It's okay. It's like, I'll put this one. I'll fight you on that one because I don't think it's the best golf movie ever. Happy Gilmore. Like Happy Gilmore's like a close second. I put Caddyshack over it.
Oh, okay.
Caddyshack is a classic. You got Bill Murray. You got it's just
Rodney Dangerfield.
Chase. It's iconic. You get the iconic gopher, you get the caddies, you get the poop scene that's just a baby Ruth. It's just a lot of good scenes in this movie, and it makes you laugh every chance you get. So Happy Gilmore's up there, but I'd probably put Caddyshack over golf in that range. But
That
not the greatest game ever played. That would never rank in my golf.
I don't think I'll ever watch it. Somebody
It's
told me
good.
recently, they're like, "Oh, I really love. That's a good movie." Yeah, that's my number three. Where are we at right now? Are we going to
So
number
I already
two?
done my number.
Oh,
Remember
oh
the
yeah, that's right.
So we're gonna go to number twos. So Elmer will start the number two list.
And with number 2, the only sequel on his list, D2, the Mighty Ducks 2.
Oh gosh, what?
Hey, man, they went bigger and better in this one. It was an international competition.
Don't you like
That
the
gave
on bays? Come on now, the loafers for
it's like you had the ultimate Swedish, Icelandic women with the slick hair, the Pat Riley hairstyle from the 90s.
You realize I'm gonna see if you know this one, Elmer. Gunther, the main Iceland guy, the star of the team. You realize he plays in D3 as well as the goalie of the varsity team?
Oh, I try to forget D3.
Yeah. I'm just saying, those were not Icelandic players.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the first team they played? I felt sorry for them because I was like, dude, that's the only
Oh,
you're gonna get. But let me
yeah.
tell you a lot, and I know Patrick will get this too. A lot of people get that movie crap because of one scene. That's with Wayne Gretzky. Do you see Canada ever in that film whatsoever?
No.
Isn't Wayne Gretzky Canadian? Why would he keep coming and saying, "Hey, good job, Team USA, you're doing a great job"? Well, why don't you go to Canada and be like, "Hey, keep your hopes up"? Like,
Yeah.
He was playing for the Kings. He wasn't in
It was-
Edmonton anymore. He was in LA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was LA Wayne Gretzky, man.
That's
As a
different, dude.
superstar Gretzky.
Yeah,
I think the best part,
ringless Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I think the best part of that movie though is you get the most iconic Ducks logo that we all know and love, and that it's just fantastic to watch and see. I thought I had it here. I said I would put it on, but I do have a hat of that old logo. Guys, how much I love. I like this movie for certain things. You get the Bash Brothers. You get
The knuckle shuffle.
the knuckle puck time. Yeah, the knuckle puck. Kenan Thompson's first big role was in this film. It's just phenomenal. It really. You even get the kid from Sandlot, Benny the Jet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
can't stop his shoes, man. It's like
That was after the Sandlot 2, I think, right?
or Sam. Yeah, it was after. Actually, was it? I can't remember if it was after Sandlot. I thought Sandlot came out after, or was it?
Because he looked a little older in D2 than Sandlot.
Because I know, I
The
think.
original one came out in '93, I think.
Yeah, let me take a look here.
Yeah.
1994, the same year.
Hmm.
So the same year that movie came out, because not only that, you had two kids from the Sandlot in that film. You had the pitcher too from Sandlot.
Yeah. He was the cowboy, right?
Yeah. No. He's not the cowboy. The pitcher from the Sandlot is from the original team of the Mighty.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I got it.
Actually,
yeah.
I'll take that back. You were right, Elmer. 1993 is the Sandlot.
Oh, okay.
1994 was D2.
Yeah.
So, no, I just looked that up. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, D2 is just a fun film. It's campy. It's by the numbers. But this pick is my nostalgia pick. It's pure nostalgia for my
There for 90 kids only or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
90s
What was it?
nostalgia.
Did you want to buy Air Bombays when they announced that in the movie?
I was waiting for those pairs, man, to come out.
For the kids who want to coach. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is saying, like, what kid wants to coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny movie. Yeah.
But I have to ask now, why and I'm not judging this, but why D2 over D1?
Bigger and better, man. It was a bigger
and better.
cast, bigger stakes.
Number one, Mighty Ducks, Game Changers. No.
Yeah.
It's
Nah,
a
nah.
rare occasion when the sequel is better than the first one, you know?
Mhm.
Because there are sequels out there that are better than the
Well,
first one.
Empire Strikes Back is better than original Star Wars, even though that can be up for debate.
From two.
There's a lot. Like I look at Last Crusade better than Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Chest over the original. Yeah, I'm not going to deny it. Captain America's second movie was the best one out of the trilogy, still to this day. That's the Winter Soldier.
True that. With the soldier.
That's
Yeah,
the best
that's
one
true.
of them all.
Yeah,
No.
sequels. There's some sequels there surpass the originals.
And there's some that suck, like Major League 2.
D3. D3.
D3.
There's definitely sequels out there that we all love and we think about. And my number two is actually the third sequel of the Rocky franchise. Rocky 3 is my number two.
Ooh.
It is my favorite Rocky movie. I think I've talked to Brandon about this off air before. Just the story, it's not too out there. It's like the perfect story of, this guy has gotten on top. He has won his championship. He is the heavyweight champion. He's got all this money. He's got everything he could want, right? He's at the top of the world. And then Mr. T, Clubber Lang, steps into the picture, and his life starts to unravel as it is, right? Yeah, his longtime trainer, one of his best friends, the one that took him up as a boxer, Mick, his trainer, dies.
Spoilers.
What?
For this
Oh,
40-year-old
bro.
movie.
That's like saying Rocky for Creed dies. Come on. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know what? So another thing, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes, because I watched this movie again when we were making this list. I tried to watch most of the movies that were on my list just to be refreshed with them a little bit. And when I watched this scene in the movie, it was actually really powerful for me for some reason. And it's the scene where he's training at Apollo's, right, getting ready for the big rematch with Clubber Lang, and he's like, he's out of it. He doesn't have any ambition to want to get back in the ring, and he asks his wife Adrian, she actually asked him, well, why are you doing this? Why don't you want to just step up and do it? And he's like, I'm afraid. Like, I'm afraid that I'm just, I can't do it anymore, And I don't know why. Like, it was just really emotional. I was just watching it and listening to it, and I'm just like, damn, dude, is Rocky about to make me tear up a little bit? Like, I'm feeling enthusiastic. Like, it was one of those speeches where it was just like, man, like, I want to get up and do something type of thing. And I don't know, man. It's just a great movie. It's got a great cast. Hulk Hogan's in it, Thunder Lips, the dude, Thunder Lips, man.
I think this was like the movie that put him on people's radar too, right? Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, man.
Like people found out about Hulk Hogan like before he made it big.
Well, that's the
through
thing.
Rocky III.
So he won his championship in January of '84, his first title, and this movie was filmed in '83. So this is before his WWF stardom and Hulkamania as it was. He was just, dude, he's Thunder Lips, dude. That was his gimmick.
I can see Pat going to a con or a wrestling match. You see Hulk Hogan be like, Thunder Lips.
Thunder Lips, yeah. Yeah, no, I know a lot. I know you guys, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think as far as the Rocky movies go? Like, if you had to pick one that was your favorite out of the whole
So
franchise?
can we call Creed in it?
Yeah, I would say any adaptation from the Rocky franchise.
If it's not Rocky 4, I probably put Creed up there. I think Creed is an excellent movie, and I kind of like Creed 2 and Rocky 4 because it kind of coincides with each other. That it's like a revenge match in some way.
Rocky 4 slept on.
Yeah, I like Rocky. Rocky 5 was terrible, fans. Do not watch Rocky 5. That's Tommy Gun right there. No, it's terrible.
I do. I think I told you this. We've talked about this too off the air, Brandon. But I think 3 and 4 are better than 1 and 2.
See,
they're completely different movies, but I don't know. I that's what I think. But they're also good in their own reasons. 1 and 2 is more cinematic, more dialogue driven, more just acting. 3 and 4 are just entertaining, man. They just a lot of big lights, big show, like let's go, I don't know.
Well, it's more lessons learning for Rocky compared to the first two movies. Like the
Yes.
first one, you do learn, his love for Adrian and things like that. But the third one had consequences. That his trainer Meg dies. The fourth one, Creed dies. Fifth one was just like, why? Rocky Balboa was him
Wow.
dealing with how he goes on in life without Adrian, and not only that, trying to repair a relationship with his estranged son. There's a lot of good stories in 3, 4, and Balboa, and I love the Creed series because it's the same way. You tell a story, and that's what I love. I think like Rocky 1 and 2, it's just a boxing movie. Where 3, 4 is more, even 5. I'll even put it up there. I mean, I don't like 5. It's him dealing with certain things.
Yeah.
Not him.
Yeah, 1 and 2 is definitely more training. Like he's training for the boxing. It's more boxing movie, but yeah, no, I see what you mean.
I'll segue into mine because I'm shocked this movie didn't make any of your guys' lists. And it's another boxing movie. I'm going to keep on the boxing trend.
Oh wow.
My young Bakusha. I'm going with $1 Million Baby. I love $1 Million Baby. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Hilary Swank, Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman's in this movie. Anthony Mackie is in this movie. It's a small role, but he plays it. It's a great boxing movie. I love this movie from beginning to end. I think it's not for the young at heart. This will make you cry at the end of it all. And the things that happen is not going to be pleasant for young viewers. So don't show your kids this. I watched this at 9, or I think I was 10 when this movie came out. I was just about to turn 10. I watched it and I was forever changed. This movie changed in the whole ending. I'm not spoiling it. I'm not going to be like Patrick and spoil parts of the movie like that, but
The only thing I'm gonna say about the movie is that Clint Eastwood dies at the end in a fiery car crash.
wow.
There you go.
But
Boom, spoiled.
it's such a good movie. It's a great boxing movie. I think it shows again a great training montage. You get that whole story of how he deals with training her because he didn't want to train her at first.
Mhm.
Groans to actually train her. Have Morgan Freeman there with them.
Yeah, I remember when this movie came out, like during the Oscars, like it just kind of wiped out everything. Like it was like getting the award, everything was getting the award for it. It was like Parasite, how it just kind of swept everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was the same thing for Million Dollar Baby.
So it won Best Picture. Clint Eastwood won or did not win. He was nominated.
For Best
Hilary Swank won Best Actress. Morgan Freeman won Best Supporting, and then directing went to Clint Eastwood. So
Got it.
he was nominated for both, and he got the Best Directing. So this movie was good. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fantastic from beginning to end. And
Who doesn't love Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood together, heck yeah, that's great movie team ups right there. You got Unforgiven with them too in it.
There you go.
You got this movie together. They're just fantastic working.
Almost want to be like Andy Dufresne.
But I'm sure I like this movie. It's a great boxing movie. It shows you the traumas through boxing and everything that comes with it. And the whole relationship bonding between Clint Eastwood and Hilary Swank throughout this film is just fantastic. I'll admit it right now, I'm not a big Hilary Swank fan. I'm not. I can't really sit here and say I've watched a lot of her movies and say I would watch that again. $1 Million Baby, I'd watch that again.
Next Karate Kid? No.
No. And I swear to God, if Cobra Kai brings her back for season 6, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh, you know she's coming back.
Please
You
don't.
Gotta give her that check, bro.
No,
Yeah.
let's not give her a check.
Get that check, dude.
No.
It's nostalgia for everybody. Come on now.
I'd
We're
rather than
forgiving it.
CGI Mr. Miyagi's face than ever see Hilary Swank ever come back in this role. But before we go to our number ones, let's go over our honorable mentions. Movies that just nicked our lists, but we still love them. So let's turn it over to Elmer first to go over his honorables.
Honorable mentions are the ones that I pretty much forgot about. But it's like Any Given Sunday, The Fighter, I forgot to put that one on my list. Yeah, I think those are the only try above the rim.
Above the rim.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
the one that I had written down. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
That's
good.
honorable mention. Yeah, those are just that's about it for the
Okay.
honorable mentions.
My honorable mentions. I got a couple. The Color of Money with Paul Newman and Tom Cruise. It's a pool movie. The Longest Yard. That was one of and the Adam Sandler one.
Yeah, they had the same one.
Not the Reynolds one. Lords of Dogtown is
Oh,
one that I had. I was like really skeptical about putting it on my top 10 just because it's like borderline not a sports movie, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's one that people think of like, oh my god, sports movie. I want to watch Lords of Dogtown. Shred it, bro. Days of Thunder, which I know I just love racing movies. I love racing. I love NASCAR. And this was a pretty good NASCAR movie. My father-in-law says it's Top Gun on wheels. So I mean that's essentially what it is. When he told me that, I'm like, damn, you're right. Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal. I really enjoyed that movie.
I think that Jake
really
Gyllenhaal is greatest. I will put that up as best performance. One of his best performances of all time.
Nightcrawler, I think, is one of the
Nightcrawler's up there for me.
Yeah.
I like him as Mysterio. I didn't think he was bad in that role. October Sky would be even up on mine with his.
I think Bubble Boy's also good. No, I just watched it.
Donnie Draco?
20 years.
Isn't he Donnie Draco?
Yeah.
He is Donnie Draco.
You mean Donnie Darko?
Donnie Darko, yeah.
Donnie Darko, yeah.
Drake. I was like,
Jake.
You know what? Bite me, okay?
You talking about Soldier Boy, Young Draco?
Draco.
I got two more. I'll throw out there. This one's gonna be kind of a head turner, but Bring It On is. I love Bring It On. It's nostalgic for me. Eliza Dushku and Kirsten Dunst, dude, fantastic. All right, Roll Tide. Spirit Fingers. All right,
Yes,
these are gold. And then my last honorable mention, that's one of my favorite sports movies that I was kind of skeptical also about putting on here, and I didn't for a good reason. Kingpin with Woody Harrelson.
Wow, I thought that was your number one.
No, it's not my number one.
Wow.
Wow, Brandon really thought that was my number one.
Wow, because you talked about how much you love that movie.
I love the movie. I just think I've talked about it so much that I think it's cliche of me to put it on my favorite.
There's nothing wrong with it. I like the movie.
Yeah, no, Kingpin is fantastic. It's the greatest bowling movie ever, man. Bill Murray, fantastic. He's big earned, man. See, that's my honorable mention.
So I'll start mine off by two that's already been mentioned. The Longest Yard's on mine with Adam Sandler. Yeah, I love that movie. Still to this day, I love Kevin
Nash.
That's probably one of my favorite roles of that whole movie. He's
Kevin Nash.
Like, what was it? He said his nipples
were crying.
His nipples were tender. He's like, get your head. But I just love the movie. It's great. I love Terry Crews in that movie too. He's like, you want a cheeseburger? And he says, he's like, does it have cheese on it? You know.
Yeah. He's the hookup, the cheeseburger hookup.
Happy Gilmore made my honorables. For fans who think that's a hockey movie, you're wrong. It's a golf movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a golf movie.
Another basketball movie, Hoosiers, made my list as an honorable.
Gene Hackman.
That is one of my favorite Gene Hackman performances.
Dennis Hopper too.
Yeah, I love that movie. You have 42. I have on my list as well. Jackie Robinson's story. Caddyshack did make my list as an honorable. Love it. My only Rocky movie that made my list, Creed, did make my list as honorable. Glory Road. If you guys have ever heard that movie, it's about the Texas Western miners in the 1960s. Being the first African American starting lineup to lead a national championship and win them. I believe. And last one, I'm gonna see if you guys know this one. Ready? I love it when you call me Big Pop. But come on,
that was gonna be on my list too.
I had Hardball.
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 We going to the chip. We going to the chip.
Little G. Little G. Come on now.
Little G, R.I.P. Little G.
Let's see. Let's see if Patrick knows this one, Pat. Who made their first movie appearance? First live action movie appearance and their introduction to the film industry in this movie.
In Hardball,
And Hardball.
I'm
It's
not
a
gonna
big
lie,
actor nowadays.
I've only seen Hardball maybe like
Oh, you want me to give you a couple movies he's in?
10 years.
Okay, I'm gonna start with a very weird one because I'm gonna work up to bigger name ones. He's in the Book of Jordan. Book for Jordan. He's in Black Panther
Okay.
and Wakanda Forever.
Michael B. Jordan?
Michael B. Jordan makes his first
He's
appearance.
probably a kid in it.
He
Yeah.
is a kid. He's 13. He's kicked off the team because he's over the age limit that they were supposed to be playing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Keanu Reeves is in this movie. It is a really good movie. I enjoy it. I love how Keanu Reeves comes to be a better coach. It's like Bombay, possibly done better because it's the whole thing that he is in the gambling world, everything like that. He's on it on his luck. And he doesn't really care, but then he comes to realize that he's going to have to care because he starts seeing these kids in his neighborhood, and it's not a good neighborhood at all. It's a good movie. I enjoy it. I think Diane Lane's in that movie too, if I'm not mistaken, or right? That's who plays Superman's mom, right?
Yeah.
Diane Lane went through a weird stretch of movies like in the years of 2000, 1999 to 2000. I think Hardball is from 2000, isn't it?
Yeah. And then
She's in The Perfect Storm where she has this terrible Bostonian accent.
And then
yeah, Flash was in that one.
I also had Dodgeball, and I also had what was it? What was the other one I had on my list? That's it. I thought I had another one on my list. No, that's it. So let's turn it over to Big Daddy L. So can we take a shot if all of us put the same number one on our list?
I hope not, because the only thing I have a shot of is like Goldschlager. But I mean, if you want it, I got Miller Lite. We can shotgun.
Let's go with Elmer. Let's see what his number one is.
Oh boy. My number one film is The Sandlot.
That's mine.
Yeah.
That's mine. Killing me.
No way. You're killing me, Smalls.
Killing me, Smalls.
Forever.
You play like a girl. Come on now.
Yeah. This movie I saw in the theater. Funny story. I saw it with Freddie actually. We were supposed to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh God,
Turtles in Time, right? We go to the theater, sold out. Ninja Turtles is sold out completely. I think it was opening weekend or something like that. So our other option was The Sandlot. So we're like a little disappointed because we were watching Ninja Turtles 3. But by the end of the movie, we were like, yo, that was like the greatest film we ever saw, and this and like we had such a great time watching that movie. The story about being a new kid, things people could relate to, how they they pretty much accepted him as one of their own, even though they were giving him a hard time at first. How his relationship with Benny and James Earl Jones at the end. It was such a heartfelt movie, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I was surprised that it was so good because there wasn't really that much promotion behind it when it came out in theaters. So for it to be like a surprise hit, because a lot of people when they first saw that movie, the word of mouth was ridiculous because everybody's like, "You gotta see The Sandlot, you gotta see The Sandlot," because nobody was expecting the movie they got from that.
So I want to mention something real quick to piggyback off that. There was a study on that and Angels in the Outfield because it came out during the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Angels in the Outfield got more money, but who's praised more? The Sandlot.
Yeah, Sandlot. Everyone. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard one person be like, "Oh, Angels in the Outfield." Like, Outfield's more of a deep cut movie. Sandlot, I think, is more of a cult classic. Like everyone thinks of it. You're killing me, Smalls. Like I think everyone's first crush was Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah, that's what I say. Everybody can relate to Squints. Like that is like the best character in that whole movie. He's like his little like
yeah.
he's like, and then when he's sitting there all passed out, he's like,
Such a great
That or
scene.
when he's doing the like, what was it? You don't know what how to make a s'more? Well, no.
Yeah.
You know,
He
I
puts
love
in
Cam.
little-
Cam is like the best heckler of all baseball I have ever seen in my life. Best catcher that can heckle the batters so much.
Yeah.
Love, love it. Love it.
Ran
Yeah.
on the mallow. We roast the mallow.
Yeah. Or when they hit the ball over the fence, they all throw the gloves at him. Like, oh, we don't have a baseball anymore.
Yeah. We were so happy about hitting that home run. He didn't care.
Yeah, almost like he's in
He
there. Oh,
played, he
Yeah.
played with a baseball signed by Babe Ruth.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what James Earl Jones saved the day when he gave him a baseball signed by Babe Ruth. And then I think it was like the whole team. He's like, I'll switch you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the whole team. And it's like,
Um,
I think the whole thing was his dad was mad, but he wasn't that mad. Because
yeah.
Dennis Leary too, of all people. Like
Oh yeah.
Karen Allen is in this movie too as the mom.
Yeah.
A lot of big name actors in this film. It's
I
under
think this is like the first time like Dennis Leary played like a straight character, like
yeah, not the
stepdad.
demolition man.
Like he wasn't cracking jokes or anything like that. Like he was just straight up nice.
what are you talking about?
Trying,
We got Captain Stacy. Come on now. Like you got Captain Stacy out
no,
of
no, but I'm saying, but at the time he was like known as the badass comedian, smoking cigarettes on stage, whatever. Now he's playing
Yeah,
somebody's
Larry Miller.
stepdad. Yeah,
Not Larry Miller. Who was the other guy that was
Dennis
on
Miller.
SNL? Dennis
Dennis
Miller.
Miller. Yeah,
Larry Miller is an actor, but that wasn't him. Yeah.
the Sandlot. There's just so many iconic lines. There's so many iconic scenes, especially the little banter back and forth between the real team of the city versus the Sandlot team, and them just heckling each other. And of course, the iconic line that comes out of it: "You play ball like a girl," and then they all go silent.
yeah,
Like, what did you tell me? You heard me. But or the tobacco scene on the ride. Come on, that's like he's like, dude, big chief, and then he'll take it and they're all puking up.
Oh, that's so bad.
It was
yeah. That was a great scene.
it's just a good movie overall.
Yeah,
It really is. The sad thing is you don't get a lot of the kids nowadays as big actors anymore. You don't hear much about them. Like you hear of Ham every so often now on TikTok and stuff, but a lot of them kind of toned down. Like you don't hear a lot of big name actors come from that movie other than the main actors that were already established. Like James Earl Jones, Karen Allen. The list can go on with those guys, but not a lot of people from the kids side. Not a lot of big name actors right now.
no, yeah.
But
That was always weird to me too.
this one was like my number one. Right when we made this, I was like Sandlot number one.
Sandlot's number one. Yeah,
Let's
pretty
get-
much me too.
But all right, Pat. Now I'm kind of curious. If Kingpin's not up here, Sandlot's not your number one.
I can't get over how you really thought Kingpin was going to
I
be
thought
my
Kingpin
number
was
one.
gonna be number
I
one.
mean, hey, it should be number one. My number one is it's a movie about my baseball team. And not very many of movies are made about my baseball team, and my baseball team is the Oakland Athletics, and
Moneyball.
it's called Moneyball. It's a true story. I think it's about basically the management of this team and how they're, the lowest payroll in baseball, and yet they still make, they recruit great players, they scout great players, and they lead their team to the playoffs. Obviously the A's haven't won a championship since 1989, but they still tend to play Moneyball baseball and be a successful team. Now, the one of the things I like the most about this is how Brad Pitt. I think this is one of Brad Pitt's best movies. If I'm being honest with you, I do. I know you're gonna be, yeah. I think it's one of his better movies. Like I think it's a slept on movie of his for sure. Jonah Hill is great in it too. I love his role as the mathematician and how they figure out how they need to make play or get players based on what they do. By how many times they get on base, everything. That's my number one. I know that's kind of a wild pick, but it's just, the first time I watched this movie was actually on an airplane. It was an airplane flight movie. And I don't know, I was like the only other thing to watch, so I watched it and I was just like hooked. I think not every day do I see, big screen actors like Philip Seymour Hoffman wearing my team's baseball jersey. So that's pretty cool, honestly. I'm not saying that's the best part of it. I'm just saying that the story behind it with Billy Bean being this manager that's working with a low grade payroll team makes it happen somehow. So,
I
um,
I think the only reason because I like the movie, don't get me wrong. I like Miami. It is a good movie, and I agree. There's not a lot of movies about the A's, other than if you want to call Angels in the Outfield an A's movie because it was filmed in the Coliseum,
filmed in the Coliseum, yeah.
or Anaheim. But I wouldn't put that up as Brad Pitt's best roles. Like,
Yeah. Hey, I didn't say it was his best role. I said it was one of his best roles.
I
I
look
would
at
say if you
things
had to
where
pick
you
five. You
I
guys,
think Moneyball was like one of the first time as a lead. It was really his movie because he had, of course, lead roles in other movies, but he was never.
yeah.
You
No, I know what
never felt like he was the lead. You know what I mean? Meet
Yeah,
Meet Joe Black. You had Anthony Hopkins there aside.
you don't like Chad from Burn After Reading? Come on now, that's like
But who else was like who was his co-stars?
Interview with the Vampire too. Got Tom
Yeah,
Cruise.
Tom Cruise stole the movie from him pretty much.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Inglorious Bastards. Some of his
So that's his thing is like that's
Yeah.
the movie that got him the Oscar, which I mean that his role is actually probably one of the best roles in that movie. Have you seen it? You guys have seen Once Upon a Time, right?
Yeah.
and then Jesse
That's different.
James and Tyler Durden. I'd put those above. Yeah, there's no way I'd put.
Yeah.
One, I'm gonna say it right now, fans. Pardon my French. Fuck Billy Bean. It's what made me liking the A's as much as possible and turn to the Angels because that's even though it's sad to say I'm an Angels fan now. Not the point. Billy Bean sucks. He's still going off that Moneyball training uses.
Yeah.
Well, it's
No,
not.
I was about to ask that too, Patrick. It was like at the time it seemed like a great idea, Moneyball. You had the movie coming out, the book, whatever. But now looking like even now, like the A's are still stuck
Yep.
at like pretty much where they were at when the movie took place. Didn't that affect your ranking for it being number one? Since you're an A's fan, you said, right?
Yeah. I'm a huge. Yeah, I grew up going to the games. And that was the thing too is like seeing that Coliseum like in the movie. It's like, oh my god, I've been there. I've seen Raider games there. I've seen A's games there. I've seen Monster Truck. It's crazy. No, it didn't really have an effect on me. I just it's frustrating because I tend to expect the same thing from my team every year, and that's great. And that's also like the team has no, and when we're basically the team is the farm system of the major leagues, right? All of our good players are either going to Atlanta, New York, and that's either of the New York teams, or they're going to Boston. I mean, that's like in the movie, that's what it led with was, Jason, them losing Jason Giambi and Johnny Damon. And we know what kind of careers those guys had. So especially Johnny Damon, playing for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
It's not. I think the reason why I kept it off because I think the whole interviews with Art, the manager of the A's during that time frame, even came out and debunked that whole movie. Like he was so pissed with his portrayal.
Gotcha.
They did not consult him. They did not do anything. They pretty much came out and said none of that crap happened. Why the hell did they put this in the movie? They made him look like the antagonist when he really wasn't. He was
Yeah.
one of the biggest supporters of this team. And to get that, it was kind of like, yeah, you get the famous trades of Carlos Pena in this movie. You get it's a good movie, but some of the historical facts behind it, like I don't
Yeah.
even think the Visalia Oaks were even a A's organization team. I believe
No,
it was
remember when the River Cats used to be their AAA team?
and then their double A was the A's.
Rockhounds, I think.
Yeah, well they had the Modesto A's too for a while.
The Modesto Nuts, right? The Nuts.
Now that's owned by the Mariners, but that's a whole different ball. That's a whole.
Oh, Mariners own the Nuts now. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong, but historically wise, no, I would not put this up there. That's why I kept it off because of just how like I know sports movies are not always 100% accurate. They have to put their little spin in. But this just had so much off the table. And not only that, believe the guy who started this whole trend now works for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he's now working for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh
At this point.
man.
But like
Good.
I think they said his thing was like they started a year before when they put him in the movie.
Mm.
Really, it was he started in 2001, said 2002. So there's a lot of like historically
with the
inaccurate.
Browns, dude, the Browns.
The
Who
Browns.
am I talking about?
That's another conversation.
Bronson, yeah.
But no, we want to thank Big Daddy L for joining our podcast. Before you go, I have to ask you, hot
Yes,
take,
sir.
what is the worst sports movie you have ever watched in your life?
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Put you on the spot, buddy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It has to be something generic that's like play by the numbers type of thing. I know it's a basketball movie. I just can't think about. I can't think which one
Mine's a
it is.
basketball movie too.
Oh yeah,
Remember the same one.
yeah. You go first, Patrick.
Mine's Double Teams. It's the Disney
How
Channel.
dare you?
Oh,
That made my Disney Channel movies. How dare you?
double T.
Yeah, well, also their Disney Channel movies.
Whatever. You know what? Let it be known on the record, fans. Patrick was the one to pitch to do the Disney Channel movies. Nobody else did.
100%.
That's what I like.
They deserve to be mentioned.
Actually, got one. Like Mike. With Little
Yeah,
Bow
I
Wow.
would put that up there. I put that up there.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. Like I love the sport, the actor, or of course you have Vince Carter, you have David Robinson. David Robinson was one of my favorite ones. He's just strangling like
Yeah. But my thing is like, how you have a movie called Like Mike, but you don't have Michael Jordan in it at all.
I said that when I was a kid. I was like, is Michael Jordan supposed to be in this? I bet you he got
He's playing
paid
with
because
shoes.
they said his name though. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah.
I,
He's
I,
like,
that was-
partake, but you guys can still pay me for it.
I think I liked it as a kid, and then I hated it growing up. I can that movie.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. I love that movie as a kid because I love Jonathan Lipnicki too. He's in a lot of movies, a lot of kids movies.
Yeah.
Little Vampire was my shit when I was a kid. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever seen Little Vampire, but it's
Back to the Minors I put up there from Major. I thought that was pretty bad. That was a terrible movie.
Yeah,
that was just like where did we go? Like this just went, what the fuck was this? But no, I think this is a great way to end the podcast, huh, Pat?
Yeah.
So Big Daddy L, thank you again for joining us. Tell the fans where they can find you, Freddie, and the Pulling These podcast.
You could catch us on the Pulling These podcasts, listening on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud. We're everywhere. Most podcast apps. Check out the YouTube channel. We got some videos coming out. Try to be more consistent on that end. Social media is pretty much Pulling These pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch. You can find us there. Check out our Discord channel also, Pulling These. And yeah, thank you for having me. Hopefully we could do some more of these.
Thank you guys for joining us on this one. As always, remember, we do it just for flicks. Good night, everyone.